Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this month's episode of Startup TV here at Made Simple Group. Hope you're all having a lovely day. My name's Sarah Kerrigan. I'm social media manager here for the Made Simple Group and social media trainer as well for business training Made Simple, which is our training side of the company. And today I'm joined by Michelle Carville, our marketing director for the Made Simple Group and author as well of Business of Being Social, which just today, Michelle?
Just today, published today, new book out on Amazon today. So following on from the first book, but got whole new chapters in there, 2 new chapters, and pretty much as social media is changing all the time, we've had to revise it, so it's 80% a new book.
Fantastic, very exciting. So today Michelle is going to be talking about how to market your new business in the modern day. So we're looking at modern marketing. Any questions throughout at all, usual thing, either tweet us at Made Simple Group or email me at sarahk@madesimplegroup.com, and that information is going to be in all the slides as well. So we're just going to transfer over to the slides. We're going to keep users for about 20 minutes today, so not too long. So we're going to go over now. Okay, so just a reminder before we get started. As I said, we're going to be covering how to market your new business today. So if any of you are interested, do take a look at our business training courses that we do here, Business Training Made Simple. And you can see there we've got courses on Facebook for Business, Google Analytics, social media strategy, Google AdWords, SEO, and lots of other digital marketing topics as well. So lots of courses which are going to help you become more visible online. So, okay, Michelle, over to you.
Great. So, hi, everybody. So we've only got 20 minutes and we just want to maximise that time. So we're going to keep it really simple. We're going to look at some really practical ways of how you can market your new business. I think it's really important that when we think about marketing, we market our businesses in the age that we actually exist in. So if you look around you now, most of your colleagues, most of your friends, most of your customers are probably very dependent on their mobiles. They will be purchasing things all the time through websites. They'll be consuming lots of content. They are likely to be on social media. They will be being persuaded to do things via pay-per-click ads and ads that they see when they're in these social channels and online channels. And so we can't talk about marketing your new business without thinking about the online space. So we're going to be looking at activities that you can do online and some of the more traditional offline stuff. So when you're starting out thinking about marketing your new business, be sure that you're taking an integrated approach. So your website is likely to be as important as your business card. People are going to want to find you whether or not you're actually trading online or not. So even if you're not going to sell things online, even if you're going to have a shop and you're going to get people to come into your shop or your store, you're going to do a pop-up store, people will still want to know that there is that credibility. So when they look you up, they can see that you have a website. So nowadays, if you meet anybody and you say, oh, can I have your business card? You expect to see a web address on there. You expect to see a website. So having a web presence is really the heart of your online visibility. And then, of course, you've got all these other channels online that you can utilize for free largely. So you can set up a Twitter account, you can set up a Facebook page, you can be very active in Facebook groups, you can set up your own LinkedIn corporate page, your own personal LinkedIn profiles, and of course you can get active in groups. You can have your own TV channel like we do, utilizing YouTube, and there are other channels. If you've got a very visual business, if your business is about the arts or jewelry or design, then of course Pinterest, Instagram, having live Periscope video introductions of things that you do. There's a whole plethora of social media resources that you can be utilizing to grow your visibility online. So it isn't just about your website, you've got all these other properties that are out there promoting what you do as well. Of course, you can think about pay-per-click advertising. So advertising is when people are searching for your products and services online, your services pop up, and you can do that in Google. And of course, increasingly now, you can do that on the social channels. So Facebook advertising is very stabilized. It's a growing area, but you can advertise in LinkedIn, you can advertise in Twitter, you can now advertise in Instagram. There are all these other areas that you can do. And of course, if you are on the social channels and you are looking at growing a presence, think about, how are you going to keep that website fresh? One of the things you might need to think about is actually incorporating a blogging site or a blog within your own website. And so you're going to have to feed your blog and your social media channels with relevant content. And so thinking about the things that matter to your customer and your audiences, you can create content that helps to keep your website fresh, to engage customers, and of course feed into those social media channels. So when we're looking at offline, online, be sure to be thinking about taking an integrated approach. You might start off just with a Facebook page and build out into a website and build out into these other channels. But when you're planning and you're thinking about what you're going to do, it's definitely worth exploring how you can take that integrated approach and how you can drive your online visibility across these platforms. So why do we want to take that that integrated approach? Because being visible online matters, as I discussed. You only have to ask your customers, ask your friends, ask your colleagues where they purchase things from, and a high percentage will be influenced via what is happening online. Search matters. I mean, who doesn't, if they're looking for something, go to the mighty Google and just type in a few keywords what it is that they're looking for, and that's what everybody does. And so you need to be relevant, you need to be visible in search to be found. And of course, if you've not got any properties out there and you've not got any content out there supplying that visibility, then you're going to be more invisible. And online commerce matters. We know it's grown significantly. In fact, this year and last year, online commerce sales were beating the offline commerce sales. And it's only continuing to grow in that space. And of course, conversations matter. Engagement with your audience matters, because that's how you can grow trust. That's how they can get to know who you are. People do business with people, and the more opportunity you have to showcase who you are and what it is that you do and how you're different and how your products and services help others and are different and help people and solve their problems, then the more opportunity you have to engage with them. So here are just some stats. These are huge numbers if we look at them, and these are the stats looking at active internet users. This is a stat from March this year, so it hasn't changed that dramatically, but one thing for sure is it's only increasing, it's not decreasing. So you've got 64.1 million people, and this is UK. In the UK is the population. 57.3 of those are internet users. So, 57.3 million internet users. That's a huge proportion, significant proportion. Look at the percentage there that are active on social media. 38 million, huge penetration there, 59%. And of course, mobile. Everyone is talking about mobile, and so if you are going to have a website, make sure that it is mobile friendly, and the services that you sell can be found and indeed purchased through mobile, because that is a genuine growing area. 74.8 million. So there's more mobile connections than there are in the total population. So it's surpassing, and that's because people don't just have one mobile connection, they might have more than one connection. And it is growing in popularity, and so therefore you need to think about mobile and how you can stay mobile connected to your audience. And you can see there the active mobile social accounts is 32 million. So Platforms like Twitter, platforms like Facebook, 80% of people that access those platforms are accessing them through mobile devices. So we know the landscape a little bit. We know that, you know, being online matters, but of course traditional things matters. But what really fundamentally matters is about your customers and what it is that you can do for them. And so there's a nice little framework here, ADA, which is really talking about how you can think about your customers and their behavior. So first of all, think like your customers, and they are going to be looking, if they're looking for your product or service, they're in awareness mode. They're looking at what is out there, and fundamentally what you need to be thinking about is how are they going to find you? So again, being online is one of those ways that they can find you. Not the only way, but it's in the modern marketing landscape, it's certainly a way. You've got to give them something to be interested in. So why should they care about what it is that you do? And this is where you've got to really think about, well, what are they interested in? And how are you going to talk to that interest? So for example, here at Made Simple, we are, one of the services that we run is very much about company formation. So now if you Google company formation or starting a company, there's lots of people out there, but we make sure that we are found right up there with using our Google AdWords and our Facebook AdWords to make sure that we are visible. From an interest perspective, we need to make sure that the people that are looking to start a company, that if they come to our websites, we're thinking like they think. And in some cases, we test different landing pages and things whereby if you come to our homepage, it might have a different message. So it might have something about change your life, you know, take the plunge. Because people who are potentially thinking about starting a business are often thinking about changing their lives. And that might be a stronger message and a more emotional message, a more emotive message than actually form a company. So you have to really think about what they're interested in and what it means for them. And that leads us into the desire. You know, why should they desire to work with you? What's in it for them? And very often you look at marketing materials, you look at marketing communications, and you see a lot of, well, we'll do this, we'll do that, we're great, we've formed this many companies, we've done this, we've done that. From a customer perspective, you've really got to think about, well, so what? Because those customers aren't necessarily interested in what you do, they are interested in what you do for them. And so you really have to think about what's in it for the customer. What is it that you do? Here at Made Simple, in our marketing team, we talk about find the benefits and talk about the benefits of the benefit. So everything should be about driving the benefit for the customer. What's in it for them? Not what you do, what do you do for them? Very different positioning, and you really need to get to the heart of the matter for the customer, not you. And then fundamentally, action. How do you get them to do what you want them to do? And there are a number of tactics that you can employ here. So it might be that you send them to a landing page, a home page, and there's only one thing for them to do. There's only one thing for them to do, which is sign up or take a trial or get in touch. And therefore, because you're not giving them 5 or 6 actions, you're giving them one action, you're more likely to funnel them into doing what you want to do because you've made it really clear. So think about what you want them to do, and then make sure that what you actually want them to do is executed perfectly and succinctly, so you make it really simple and really easy for them to do what you want them to do. It's actually very surprising when we've looked at lots of websites in some of the training that we do in business training Made Simple, and we're critiquing different websites and we're critiquing different marketing promotions, and we will say to our clients, you know, so what is it that you want your customers to do? And oh, well, I want them to sign up for this next course. Okay, great. So how are you going to do that? How are they going to do that? And when we look at their web pages, when we look at the communications, the fundamental key action isn't really standing out. And so make sure in your communications, make sure in your pages, make sure in your activities that the action that you want them to do is really clear, really simple. And sometimes, you know, if you've got stuff already out there, audit it, have a look at it, and just really sense check it and think, actually, am I making it as simple as possible for the customer to do exactly what I want them to do? And it's an interesting little test. So ADA is a nice little framework, lots of things for you to be thinking around. The other thing that you need to think about is, what's the state of your market? So, you know, we do lots of competitor analysis here, and we keep that going all the time. But if you're marketing your new business as part of the business plan or as part of the marketing activities, you've got to be thinking about, well, who's my competition? What else is out there? Am I priced correctly? And, you know, if you have got a really premium priced product, then you've got to show that you're different to all the other products that are out there. So, for example, here, if we look at this simple little vision statement to be the go-to cat groomer in the UK, if that was my vision, therefore I need to understand my market. I'm going to do some analysis, and I'm going to understand the cat grooming sector, therefore, in the UK is valued at X thousands. The sector is growing at a rate of X per annum. So I know I'm in a healthy area that is growing, it's not declining, there's opportunity for growth and development. I know that there are X amount of cat grooming salons in London. You know, you could pare this down and say, I want to be the go-to cat groomer in London, you know, so therefore you've got a territory to kind of look to own, and therefore you'd want to know what was going on in your territory. So you'd need to know, well, how many others are there in there? And of course, the beauty of the internet and the beauty of social media is that you can do a lot of this research at your fingertips. You don't necessarily need to now go out and hire a big market research organization to deliver this for you. You can actually go out there and do this research yourself. And lots of searching on Google, LinkedIn is great for finding out what others are doing professionally. So find out, do some simple market analysis, but make sure that by doing the analysis, by looking what is out there in the state of your market, you will learn things about how you can improve and position the services and products that you're potentially going to be offering. So have a look out there, and then get a breakdown of the services they typically offer, and you might get some ideas. You might get some ideas where you think, actually, you know what, we should be doing that, or we do that and we do it so much better, but they're saying it better than we do it. So let's borrow what they're saying and let's say it differently. So by doing the research, by understanding your market, you will learn things. Similarly with competitor analysis, again, understanding your market and the growth of the market, the size of your market, that there's opportunity there is important. Understanding what your competitors look like is equally as important. And again, you've got research, website research, social media research that you can actually utilize to monitor these things on a regular basis. So from a competition perspective, you've got to identify who your main competitors are. And often, I mean, the beauty of social media is that very often you can, when you're researching, you can look at some of your competitors and you can see who they're following. On LinkedIn, sometimes you can see who they're connected to. So very often you can get an idea of who the customers are of your competitors. And it might be that that brings up some opportunity for you to be targeting some of those people. You can often see customer reviews as well out there on review sites. So there's lots of free review things like Yelp and lots of others that you can have a look at, and you can see what people think of other services. And it might be that you see that some customers are saying that they're not necessarily happy and satisfied with some of their customers, and therefore that gives you an opportunity. You can look at the charges, what their fees are, what they charge, to make sure that your pricing is positioned effectively. You can look at how they position themselves in the market. You know, again, you will learn some things that you might want to take on board for yourself. And you can look at their, you know, what are they positioning as their USP, their unique selling proposition. And you might be thinking, well, hang on a minute, we do that too, but we do it even better, or we've got an even bigger number than that. And therefore that becomes your unique selling proposition. So do your research, do the analysis. As I say, the beauty of this is that the website research, the social media research, you can do this stuff pretty quickly, and you can dip in and out of this regularly, so that maybe quarterly you're reviewing what's going on with your competitors. Again, fundamentally, customers, always back to the customers, and it's key to keep your customers front of mind. Who are your customers? Where are your customers? You know, where are they coming from? Are they really local? Are they all female? Are they mainly male? Is it a mix? Is there an age demographic? Do they live in a particular area? Do they regularly purchase from you? Do they only purchase once a year? Is it a high product that they're spending? And what are their demographics? You know, their age, their location, etc. And also, which channels are they on? So how are they coming to you? Are they coming to you through the internet? Or are they coming to you through Facebook? Or are they coming to you through Twitter? Which channels are they on? And figure out what works for them. And it might be, in this day and age, as we do here, and as many businesses around the UK do, have a multi-channel kind of marketing proposals and propositions, because you might be running some Facebook ads, you might be doing some Facebook marketing, you know, one-off opportunities and offers to your Facebook audiences, similarly to your Twitter audiences. You might be running some AdWords accounts, you might be doing some direct email marketing to to the same audience or to a different audience. If they don't respond to emails, but they do respond to tweets and Facebook communications, then you know that what works for them is more social channels and more easy, quick, chattier channels than maybe the reading email channels. So I want you to think about your customers, and I want you to think about your customers as personas. So when I was writing The Business of Being Social, you know, some of the things that I do when I'm writing to help me position the content is I think about, well, who's likely to read this book? And the book is positioned, you could be a social media manager who is looking to skill up. You could be, so let's call that Sarah, because, you know, there's Sarah always skilling up. Yeah, that's true. You could be a CEO of an organization. So let's take Howard, our CEO, and he could read this book because this is going to help him to understand what goes on in his marketing team and what Sarah does in her role. And you could be a student learning about social media as part of your marketing course, and you're looking for some extra material. So you've got 3 different personas already, and they're all relevant customers for the book, for this particular product, yet I would talk to them all slightly differently and market to them slightly differently, and I'm likely to find them in very different places. The CEO is not going to necessarily be on social media, so I'm going to email him and he's going to be part of my email campaign. The Sarah, the social media manager, is going to be all over social. So I'm definitely going to be able to communicate and engage with her on social media channels. And the student might be a mix of both. So I might be thinking about, well, hang on a minute, I'm going to try and talk to the Chartered Institute of Marketing to see, so I'm now talking about, well, who influences that student audience? I'm going to go to that influencer and I'm going to say, well, could I please put something in your newsletter, or could I please send an email to your students, or could you review the product for me so that you can tell your students what you think about it? So 3 different personas, 3 different, therefore, approaches of how we're going to market to them. So I know we don't have much time, but I'd like you to spend just 30 seconds, so you can do this in your own time as well, but just write something down so you've got a commitment to at least think about the types of audiences that you've got and give them a name. You know, you might have a Sarah, a Howard, and an Alex, you know, or you might have a Patricia, a Robert, or a Matthew, you know, whoever it is, just write those personas down. Doesn't have to be 3, but start with 3 and just think about who your ideal customers are. What do they look like? Who are they? Visualize them. Visualize them. What do they do? What do they do in their spare time? Which channels are they likely to engage with? You know, because then the way you communicate to that audience is going to be in a way that makes sense to them. And everything may change, not just the channel that you use, but the language that you use to communicate with those people as well. So just spend that 30 seconds. You've got 10 more seconds thinking about those personas. And then that's an exercise that you can be thinking about, a practical way of really just thinking about your audience, because sometimes we don't give them much thought. We're going to sell them stuff, but we don't really know who we're selling to.
Oh, looks like the slides are just frozen.
Okay.
We're back.
Okay.
This one?
Yeah, so there we are. So as I said, keeping that customer front of mind, keeping those personas there, the critical key, I think, when we're going back to the AIDA framework, you know, the desire, what is the interest, you know, what is it you're going to do with them? Very often, you know, what's in it for them is the problems you can solve for that customer. So what are the problems? And again, it might be that based on their personas, their problems are different. So let's go back to the example of Howard, Sarah, and Alex. So Howard, as a CEO, his pain points is he is a little bit older than everybody else in the company. Therefore, he didn't really grow up with social. Social is a new thing for him, as it is for many others. So he understands it's a big part of our lives, but he doesn't really understand it to the level of detail that he understands what his team are necessarily doing with it. He sees the results, he sees what they're doing, he gets it, but he doesn't really understand it. So for him, his problem is, I get it, my team are doing this, but I don't really understand it, so he can learn about it. Okay, so that's his problem, and we can solve that for him, no problem. So the positioning of that same product would be quite different for him based on the different problem that we're solving. For Sarah, the challenge that Sarah has, the problem that Sarah has, is that social is changing all the time. She's trying to do her job, and that's a busy job, day in, day out, making sure all the channels are managed, but she also needs to be making sure that her skills are as optimized as they are, that she's covering all bases, that all the different aspects on all the different channels are covered, that her strategic thinking about how she delivers on social is in place. So of course, the product there would also fix that for her, because instead of her, she's time strapped, so she doesn't have a lot of time or money to be going on lots of courses to learn about this stuff. So she can read a book in her own time and learn all about it. So there you go, there's the solution for her. And for the student, in a similar way, the student who's doing a marketing degree, social is now a big part of the marketing space. You need to skill up in this area. Here's a book that is written in a very practical way, so it's going to help you understand from grassroots right through to strategy, so it gives you everything. So again, positioned differently, but it's solving the problem for a different audience. So think about your audiences, think about the problems they have, think about the solution you offer to them and how you position that solution in a different way depending on the different audiences, the different personas. Think about how you can compel them to choose you over your or again, inviting them to come to a seminar or a live workshop where you get in front of them. So mixing up the marketing mix, it doesn't mean just do all modern digital marketing. You can see how these align and dovetail together. And here's just a really simple little marketing planning action plan. So you would put this is the activity I'm going to do. So I'm going to do some email marketing. The description, you might put in the detail of what it is that you're actually going to be marketing about. So the description is, how to market your new small business, and we're trying to invite people to come to a webinar, the target audience, who they are, how big that audience is, the frequency of the activity. So we're going to do this every quarter, as we do these events every quarter, these Startup TV and business training webinars every quarter. And then the timeline. This is going to have to be done by September, and therefore we need to write the content and get it deployed by a certain date, a certain time. So you can see that this is a really simple action plan, and you can elaborate on this. You can add in who's responsible, if you've got other team members that you can help you, delegate to help you with this stuff, and you can utilize it. But the key thing is getting something down, having a plan. The way we plan here is quarter by quarter. So it might be that we say, well, our quarter one activities are going to be, and by that, we just mean January, February, March. These are the things we're going to do in January, February, and March. And these are then the quarter two are the things that we're going to do in April, May, and June. And we plan those things down. We just, we go into the detail, we create the resources required for it, and then it is delivered. So if you have a plan, then you're more likely to execute things. Whereas if you're just going to work in a very sporadic way, in a very spontaneous way, you might miss things, and it's not as effective. So have a plan and put down what it is that you're going to do, and think about integrating your modern marketing mix. So seeing how things support one another. And the other key thing here is, very often when you're starting out in a new business and you win some clients and it's brilliant, you get some new customers and you think, great, we've just landed a really big client, or we've just landed some really lovely sales with a few customers, and then you just think about, we've just got to keep doing more of that, which is important. You do have to focus on landing those big catches, but when you do land the big catches, don't forget about the big catches. Don't just think, we've got that customer now, and now all we need to do is focus on winning more customers. You need to do both. You need to always be looking at how you can win new customers, but you then also need to be retaining and nurturing the customers that you already have. So this is now where your marketing splits into two, because you've got customer acquisition, where we are always looking to win new clients, and of course the messaging and the content and the offers and the promotions on an acquisition campaign and marketing activities are going to be quite different to the way that you're going to talk to your customers that have purchased from you, and you want to keep them close to you, you want to retain them, you want them to buy more from you more frequently, and you also want them to become your ambassadors, to go out and tell others, their friends, their family, their colleagues, wow, you should go to Jenny because she is the best cat groomer in town. So if you're looking for a cat groomer, go to Jenny. And that's what you want to happen. You want your customers to become your marketeers for you. But to do that, you've got to look after them. You've got to keep them close. So here at Made Simple, we have very, very clear customer acquisition, getting new customers in, and then once people turn into customers, we have very clear plans for how we nurture and look after those customers. So think about that yourself. Very often, when you're starting out in a new business, you get excited, you get some clients, and you just focus on we need more, and you service those clients, but you don't necessarily nurture them to get them to absolutely fall in love with you so that they become your key ambassadors and refer new business to you. So make sure you're not missing that trick. We're moving in now to the end of the webinar, but we can't talk about marketing without thinking about measuring. And excuse me, you have to measure what you're doing as you're going along, because unless you know that something's working or something isn't working, you don't know whether or not to repeat it, or if it's not working, how are you going to improve it, refine it, tweak it to try and see if you can get it working. So before you set out on any campaign, make sure that you are thinking about, well, what is success going to look like? I love the statement by Zig Ziglar, those that aim for nothing hit it with remarkable accuracy. And it's absolutely true. So we don't want to aim for nothing. We want to have a very clear idea of what it is that we are trying to achieve. So figuring out what success will look like as part of that campaign or that activity is important. And that might be really simple. It might be, I'm going to put out 500 leaflets and I want 20 people to come to my yoga class or to come to my event. It can be, I'm going to send 1,000 emails and I want to get an X% click-through rate. But you need to determine what that success will look like, so you've got a benchmark. And think about those metrics through whatever it is that you're doing. So it might be that you're looking for direct sales. You know, we want people to convert directly to buy something. It might be supported sales. So they didn't necessarily buy, but directly through Facebook, but they looked at the Facebook ad before they made a purchase. So supported sales or assisted sales. Tracking codes and links. You might need to think about, excuse me, you would need to think about setting up some tracking codes to make sure that you're tracking. You can even tell that they went to a landing page before they purchased something. So if you're not tracking it, you don't necessarily know. So you need to think about ensuring you've got your tracking codes and your links in place. Analytics in your email marketing software. So, you know, it might be you using MailChimp or Infusionsoft or GetResponse or whatever platform you're using. There will be some analytics and you want to see how many people clicked, how many people opened, how long they stayed with the communication, etc. So there's lots of insights. The social media networks have lots of analytics for you to have a look at. And of course, Google Analytics. Google Analytics, that wonderful free piece of analytical kit that Google gives to you that you can have embedded on your website, which tells you so much information about who visited, when they visited, how long they visited, which pages they visited, and you can set that up so that you can track sales and other goals as well. So figure out what it is that you want to track, figure out how you're going to track it and which tools you're going to use to track it. There are other ways as well of making sure that you keep a track of what's going on with your brand and other activities. So there are things like mention.net and simple Google alerts, where if you go to Google and type in Google alerts, you can track absolutely anything. You can track your competitors, you can track people mentioning your new brand name, so that you can start to see activity that is going on out there. And that might be a measure of success as well. You know, that might be one of the metrics that you look to track. So the key here is to test things and to have your measurement metrics in place. So rounding up now, the steps to building your plan. Consider the 4 simple truths about growing your business. I don't think we actually showed this slide at the beginning, but we've talked about it. The simple truths to grow any business is about getting customers to getting customers is one thing. You do need customers to grow your business. You then want those customers to buy more from you. You want them to buy more often from you. And ideally, you want them to become your ambassadors and to tell others about it. So a lot of the things we've been talking about throughout this short webinar have really been about all of those things. How do we get people to buy more frequently, fall in love with us and tell others that we're great? So you really need to think about those aspects, because those are the key aspects that are going to fundamentally help you to grow your business. Do a reality check. So do the market analysis, do your customer analysis, do your competitor analysis. You know, look at what is going out there. Do not forget about the all-important customer. If we don't have customers, we don't have a business. So you must think about how important the customers are, who are they, where are they, build those personas, map out what those personas look like and build on that. Think about the channels that are going to work for your audiences. Remember, in our example, we broke down the product, same product, different audiences, different messages, different channels, different communications, different language. You know, think about your audiences and the channels and what's going to work for different audiences. Work out your marketing messages and your resources. Build plans for each channel. They can be very simple. They can be as complicated as you need to make them, but our view is keep it simple, document it, keep it frequently, you know, keep it going, you know, keep making sure that your activity is happening on a regular basis. Focus not just on landing the big catch, but make it a lifetime catch. So nurture those customers that you have, as well as always focusing on acquiring new ones. By nurturing those customers, they will help you to acquire new ones without a doubt. And then test, measure what matters, learn and test, and then measure some more. So that brings us to the end of the webinar. Sarah will just recap that we've got these other training activities that are coming up through the months there.
Awesome, thank you, Michelle. That's fantastic. Absolutely packed with loads of practical advice and a lot of love online. I was actually filming you on Periscope as well.
Oh, great.
Just to let you know. We've got quite a few questions, but we've gone over time by 10 minutes. I'm just going to jump to just a couple which I think are most relevant here. So one from Mike: what social platform is most effective for new businesses?
I mean, that's tricky because it's dependent upon what type of business it is. I would say probably the safest option is Facebook. If you're starting out in business and you've got a product or service that is relevant to a large audience, and there's a big age demographic and a mixed age demographic on Facebook, I would say a Facebook page and getting involved in Facebook groups is a great way to go.
And one from Iqbal, I hope that's how you pronounce your name, Iqbal. What platform is most essential for a strong start to my new business?
I suppose that's similar to the question we just had. So I would say Facebook.
He says digital platforms.
Oh,
I'm
digital
not sure
platforms.
if he means kind of all sorts like PPC, SEO, marketing, or social media.
Yeah, I mean, again, it goes back to what it is that you do and what your budgets are. Facebook gives you the opportunity to create a great showcase for your business and regularly share what it is that you do. And also Facebook advertising is a great place to kind of test doing paid for advertising before you go over to Google AdWords. It may not be relevant for your business because you might say, well, my audience is very B2B. They're definitely not on Facebook. So you might have to start with Google AdWords to build some awareness. But Facebook it gives you a good platform to test things out, and you can test ads, you can test keywords, you can test things. So, and at the moment, Facebook is still relatively low cost, so you can get quite a lot of feedback and insight for £50 worth of budget. So it's a good place to start. But Iqbal, I'm afraid we'd need to know a little bit more about the type of business you have to be able to really give you any deeper insight than that. Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you. And do remember that if you are interested in Facebook advertising, of course, it is covered on our Facebook Advanced course as well, on Business Training Made Simple. Okay, thank you everybody for listening in. We're just going to switch back to our screen now, give you a little wave goodbye. And we'll see you all next month. Very quickly, actually, Matty, we're here next month with Free Agents. What's the topic?
Free Agent who join us for Invoicing 101.
Okay, fantastic. So if you want to know about invoicing, join us next month for Startup TV. Have a good day. See you later.
Bye.